Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's Tease Towel. I tell you, isn't summer so crazy busy? So I keep changing the time. So thank you for your patience with that. And those of you who follow me and watch on replay, I appreciate you so, so much. And I know you understand because life is busy and we have to be able to roll with the flow with that. And that's kind of what I'm talking about today. I do have to say, I did a live in my VIP group today about this palette right here, which is our Summer Heat palette, speaking of summer. And I did pretty much my whole face, eyes, cheeks, highlight, lips, everything, just using that palette. So if you want to learn more about that, put a comment or an emoji in the comments and I will add you to my VIP group and you can learn things like that too. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm talking about, like I said, I mean, this is a topic that is super huge to me. And when I was back in my working world as a manager, we would have a yearly or bi-yearly all staff meeting, and this was one of my topics one of the times. This is a very shortened version of it, but I did talk about this because change is inevitable. Change is happening to us all the time, and just like I was mentioning with things going on in the summer, we have to be able to be flexible and be able to adapt and mold to some of those roadblocks that happen. We have to learn how to embrace change. And I will say, I will start out too with the fact that I wasn't always good at it. I feel like I'm very good at it now. But when I was growing up, you had plans and you made plans and you stuck with your plans, and life seemed slower back then, but it was easier to be a little more rigid in your plans. And because of that rigidity, I would get upset. I would get very upset if my plans weren't working out as they should. And I actually, unfortunately, that rubbed off on my daughter in my early years when I was being like that. And so this is something that she's had to work on too. And so I have worked on this for many years, and in my working life, in my reviews and things, I was very good at being able to adapt to the changes that were happening. And as a manager, you have to be. But it is inevitable for all of us, whether it's a new job or moving to a new city or just unexpected things that happen to our plans or significant personal loss. We all face these transitions, these challenges that make us have to step out of our comfort zone. And some of us can deal with it well, and some of us really have trouble. And so I want to talk about how to embrace those changes and how to navigate them with courage and with resilience. So we first have to understand, and acknowledge really that change is a constant in our life. It's like a river flowing. Sometimes it's flowing slower and sometimes it's moving really fast. And it seems like more and more as time goes on that change is happening so much more faster. But change has been happening to us from the moment we were born. I mean, we experience change from learning to walk, to going to school, to going to college, maybe out of town, to starting a new job, to moving new areas. All of those transitions through our years should be helping us to adapt, but they do require us to step outside of our comfort zone and embrace the unknown. And so it's very natural, because it is unknown, because there is so much unknown, it's very natural to be apprehensive and to be anxious about it. And that's okay. And it's good to acknowledge that. But it's also crucial to recognize that change is something that can also propel us forward. When I was speaking back then, one of the metaphors that I think I'd read about involved talking about change like a river. And we can be standing in that river and it's just flowing past us. Change is happening. We're resistant to it. We're trying to stand firmly in our spot. And we're not adapting at all. We're just it's just all passing us by and we're being left behind. Whereas if you learn to kayak, you can, with kayaking, you can go with the river. You can adapt to those changes in the river. You might even spill over, but you learn how to flip yourself up. And so being able to embrace change and adapt to change is like learning to kayak through a river, particularly a fast-moving river, because it really is often changing very fastly. So what we have to do is be able to embrace change with courage. And I know you've all heard, courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the willingness to act in spite of it. So when we're challenged with change, having that courage can help us take those steps that we need to take to adapt and to confront our fears and take those first steps. So there's some ways that you can work on embracing change or cultivating courage. And the first step really is just acknowledging your fears, not to try to act like it's not scary, not to try to run from it, but to identify that change is scary, the unknown is scary, but then take that a step further and think about what about this change is scaring you. Is it the fear of failure? Is it the fear of the unknown? Is it the fear of losing control? But by naming your fear and acknowledging those feelings, you can begin to address them directly. That's the first step. But then you have to shift your perspective. You have to think about, okay, I'm scared about this and I'm scared of this unknown, but instead of viewing it as a threat, trying to see what opportunities it might bring. What are the positives that could happen with this? Thinking of, really every change that we go through brings new opportunities, brings possibilities. And so asking yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do to make myself stronger? And what can I do to make this change really work for me? Sometimes the change is without our control, but sometimes we have to make those changes. Kendra, yes, change is so hard for everybody. And as a manager, I really had to help people through this. And so it's thinking about what pieces of this can I control and do something about, and what's beyond my control. And so once you identify then what's the part that's beyond my control, it's how can I adapt to that? How can I make this work for me? And then change is overwhelming. So the other piece of that is really to break the change down into smaller manageable steps to make the process less intimidating, and then celebrating your victories along the way. It really is a practice. It really is a work, but it's not denying it. It's not denying your fear, but being able to then acknowledge that and shift that perspective. One of the other keys to One of the other keys to thriving through change is resilience, and it's while courage can help us to face the change, it's the resilience that helps us to thrive and get through it. And resilience, the definition for that is that ability to bounce back from setbacks and adapt to new circumstances. And we have to practice that too. There's practice to building resilience also. So it's trying to maintain that positive outlook. Being optimistic doesn't mean that you're ignoring difficulties or denying that those difficulties are out there, but it's recognizing that the challenges are temporary and that you do have the strength to overcome them. One of the ways to do this is remind yourself of past challenges that you've had and how you've come through them, and giving yourself credit for that, those challenges that you've navigated through successfully. And as I said in the beginning of this is a very powerful topic for me because I have dealt with a lot of change, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute too. But another thing for building resistance is developing that support network, finding your people that you can lean on, or that will provide you encouragement and some practical advice. Being careful with who you're surrounding yourself by during those difficult times, because building that strong support system is very crucial. And it may involve getting some professional help too. That might be your support system through some of those difficult changes in life. Been huge for me. Practicing self-care, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're eating poorly, if you're not exercising or doing any of those things to take care of yourself, you're going to have a harder time being resilient. You're going to have a hard time getting through those changes. But it's developing that idea of adaptability, of being flexible, trying to let go of that rigidity that this is how I meant for it to happen. This is how it's supposed to be happening. It's not happening, so I'm going to kick and scream and throw a fit. That's not doing you any good, and it's not getting you through that change. So being able to cultivate a mindset of flexibility and open-mindedness, and then that willingness to just keep adjusting your plans as you have to. I did a talk on one of my T-Style about setting goals, and having this realization from a coach that I was working with of, yes, I have this goal, but all of a sudden I realized my priorities have changed, and I had set an arbitrary goal date, and things in life happen that are going to interfere with that, and just accepting that and adjusting my goal. So having that flexibility and that open-mindedness to make those changes can help. And then, lastly with that, it's learning from past experiences. Reflect on your past experiences of change, and how have you navigated through those transitions, and what did you learn from them, and using those insights to form, to help you with how you're in the future going to deal with change. We all deal with it. One example is a career transition. I know people recently who have lost their job, or their position has been eliminated. Or in my case, I didn't lose my job, but I decided that for my health, I couldn't continue anymore. This is going to take me down a path of old age or heart attack or stroke or something much more quickly. And that while I wasn't at that time of when I planned on retiring, I realized that's what I needed to do for myself. And I was able in that case to be able to make that choice, but it's still change, and it's still very hard. There's so many who lose their job, or the company shuts down, or whatever it may be, and it's very, very devastating, and it's very scary. And so it's learning, acknowledging those fears, and then start networking, and then start updating your resume or applying for jobs, or eventually you're going to land something. Usually, almost always, it's something better. It's a better situation. In my case, I retired, best decision ever. But again, I had that choice. But there's been times too that personal change. There's personal changes. We may have to move to a different town. You may go through divorce. I've been through divorce. It's very painful. It's very scary. It's very scary. You are leaving everything that is familiar, and that, while sometimes it's something that needs to happen, it's still very scary, and you're leaving kind of a comfort zone. You're leaving what's familiar. You're leaving some family and friends, and it's hard, and it's scary, and you want to acknowledge that. You may have to move to a new city. I mean, all of that is tough. But by embracing, acknowledging your feelings and then embracing it with courage, you can begin to explore some of the new possibilities and the new opportunities. It's going through that pain that I actually found now, years later, the man of my dreams, who, we are happier than I could have ever imagined. So often change is a catalyst for something better. So in conclusion, change is an inevitable part of life, and it's an opportunity for growth and transformation. And it's really a matter of how we embrace it, and trying to embrace it with some courage and resilience that can help us navigate those transitions more effectively. Just always remember to acknowledge your fear, acknowledge it, and then move on. Acknowledge it and look for the opportunities and the lessons, and then take small steps to do it. But take care of yourself in the process. Practice self-care. Stay flexible. Learn from your past experiences and use them in your current situation. Remember, every change is a opportunity in disguise, and by approaching it with an open mind and a resilient spirit, you can turn that change into stepping stones to things that can take you into a brighter, better future. So change is inevitable, but it's not always bad. Find the positives in it, find the opportunities in it, find the areas of growth in it, and you're going to end up so much better once you get to the other side. So thanks for you guys who hopped on and joined me for this week's Tease Towel. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found some good in that. Please share it if there's others that I am so happy. I'm here to help in any way I can. So please pass this on or share it with people, or sprinkle, I guess in Facebook algorithms, you're not supposed to say share. So sprinkle it to others who you may find this to help. But those of you who join me and watch this and say hi and put comments, please let me know if you watch this on replay. I appreciate all of you. You guys have helped me to grow this platform in my Tease Towel each week. So I appreciate you so much for that. I love you all, and have a great rest of the week. I'll see you next week on Tease Towel. Bye-bye.